Welcome to the True Life News Show, guys. This is about dang time. I'm so happy with what I get to tell you tonight. Trump and Elon are fighting the battle of their lives right now to put this country first, and you would think that everybody would want to be on board with that. But right now, we are fighting a resistance that is so strong, but thankfully, the Supreme Court is actually stepping in to do what is right on some of these big issues and just gave Trump and Elon one of the biggest wins against the resistance. There was 8 Democratic-led states that were suing Trump and Elon over their Doge cuts for the DEI and woke programs. The court is super divided right now, but Trump did win with a 5-4 ruling that sided with the Trump administration to allow further cutting of the spending of DEI programs towards, and we all know, guys, it's a woke agenda, but using taxpayer dollars for this. You want to use private? Go right ahead, but not taxpayer dollars. This was actually an emergency ruling, and there's more to come. But these 8 Democratic states are suing for all. There is right now over 160 lawsuits against the Trump administration from actual states. That's why this was an emergency ruling, and we would expect more to come in the next few weeks. But good news is that Elon Musk and Doge team confirm now that they have found up to 1.5 million illegal immigrants who have been receiving government benefits who are now going to be cut off. They said this is for the American citizens. These people were fast-tracked and given priority to be put into the system and given max benefits, guys. Max benefits with little to no verification. Good news is that now that's not going to happen. That money's coming back to the American people. We're talking billions, tens of billions of dollars. On top of that, good news is that Doge is working with FEMA. FEMA just redirected $1 billion from being used on DEI and woke programs to be actually used for, you wouldn't believe it, disaster relief. Wow, it literally took Doge, Elon, and a new FEMA director to actually use that billions of dollars towards disaster relief, but thank God for that. And we have word from the White House because, you know, the whole thing with the Trump, the tariffs, all this stuff is going crazy right now. But the White House has given a comment on what Trump has said and where he is at in terms of his mindset, guys. Listen to this. They said President Trump is at the peak of just not giving anymore. Bad news stories, doesn't matter. He doesn't give he's going to do what he's going to do. Per the White House, guys. That's literally the quote. Because we now know, get this, hope you're sitting down. We now know that the attempted assassination attempt on Trump's life was and is now a scandal that the Biden administration tried to cover up. We have some breaking bombshell news tonight for you guys. Wow, it's going to be huge because that right there was a scandal and a cover-up that they're still trying to cover up right now that we're going to show you. Want to say thank you so much to everybody who is watching, to all of our subscribers. Guys, thank you so much for your support. If you're not subscribed, please consider joining the True Life News family. We want you here. We want to keep serving you every single day with the top news. I want to say thank you to everybody that is a member of the channel. The link is in the description to join our family and give back. We give back to charities once a month, guys. On the 22nd, you see me live on stream, give back, and we thank you for your support with that. And we also thank you for those that give a super chat donation, just like homegirl Deanna Rankin. Y'all show Deanna some love. And we just want to say thank you guys so much for your support. If you don't mind doing us a huge favor of hitting that thumbs up like button, we appreciate you so much. Right there. We love our little emojis, guys. But this right here, if this isn't cause to upend the entire deep state, I don't know what is. Check this out. Oh, see, guys, I'm sorry. Sorry, guys. One second. I got you. One second. Oh, man. Am I really having that? Come on, Joel. You're better than that. Ready? Ready, guys?
2024 was the craziest election in history. One president got shot and arrested, the other got cooed. And now we're finding out why everybody works so hard to hide the truth. After reading the new book, Revenge, the inside story of Trump's return to power, I'm shocked Trump wasn't shot at more. A year before Butler, Trump was being shuffled in and out of court, and the president wasn't being properly protected. Trump was taking the elevator, but Secret Service didn't even shut off public access. So the elevator opened at every single floor, and anybody in the building could have gotten to Trump.
Wow.
When the elevator's doors opened, one guy said, "Holy it's effing Trump." Things were worse on the road. On the way back to the airport, police didn't even clear the streets. Trump's motorcade was stuck in traffic. They were getting cut off. Someone in the president's entourage thought, quote, Trump could get rammed. A year later, he was shot.
Wow.
But the day after Butler, security was still lacking. Trump's family was staying at a hotel in Milwaukee at the convention, but the Secret Service refused to put magnetometers at the entrance. And then they tried to fire Trump's most trusted agent, Sean Curran, one of the guys who saved Trump. Cheadle, the weasel, wanted him to be the fall guy for Butler. Trump's team said, if you fire him, we're going public with everything.
Wow.
Cheadle backed down, and Trump appointed Curran to Secret Service director.
Let's go.
Did Biden even know his people were putting his opponent in the crosshairs?
Talk about a big cover-up. I mean, we've been talking a lot about Donald Trump lately. I just want to ask a simple question. Who in the heck was running the country? If the president's mental acuity was in question and some days he's on and some days he's off, was the guy really capable of doing the job day to day? I honestly really question that.
At this point, we can't confirm Biden was aware of anything that happened in his term.
Dang.
His team knew he was mentally defunct even before 2020. They were sitting in the Oval talking about campaign strategy for his second run. And one aide said this, in 2020, we had this great excuse of the basement, of COVID, to keep him out of the public eye. We no longer have that excuse. What do we do? Biden couldn't even celebrate his favorite holiday, St. Patty's. Obama's chief of staff was in the room and saw Biden using a teleprompter to talk to people. Quote, if the president needed a script for a small gathering of Irish guys, how would he survive the rigors of a campaign? How are they letting this thing go on? This is crazy. Everyone knew about Biden's condition, and then the dam broke on debate night. The machine that protected him took him out. Obama's knife cut the deepest. As the walls closed in, Biden felt abandoned. It was his perceived betrayal by Barack Obama that stung most of all. What hurt was that Obama hadn't picked up the phone and called him. Ron Klain, Biden's chief of staff, tried to save the ship. After the debate, Klain told Joe to stay in D.C. and fight the coup. But Biden took the weekend off and did a photo shoot with Annie Leibovitz at Camp David instead. Then Klain tried to win over the squad by setting up a Zoom call, but Biden just ended up scolding them. Quote, all you guys want to talk about is Gaza. What would you have me do? I was a progressive before some of you guys were even in Congress. Somehow, after 50 years in D.C., Biden still doesn't get politics. How was he elected president in the first place?
Wow.
His handlers controlled everything. Guys like Ron Klain were running the show while Biden slept poolside. He told Biden what to do and say, crash the economy and open the border. That's why when Ron retired, he got a bigger standing O than Joe.
Guys, look at this title at the bottom. Like, this to me, if this isn't one of the biggest, if not the biggest scandal in American history, that they purposefully tried, they did not protect Trump like they were supposed to. He could have been taken out time and time again. And there was a shadow president. Like, are you kidding me? And nobody is saying anything. I'm glad because, again, too, they didn't say anything. They're saying things now. The DOJ is getting involved because we have all this new evidence, guys. Let me know your thoughts on what needs to happen with this because we did not have a president. We had a shadow president. We had somebody who literally came in to destroy America through and through. If you appreciate this, guys, this exposure, if you don't mind hitting that thumbs up like button, thank you so much for your support. Wow.
Even Binder called him the boss.
Ron has been an incredible boss. He is someone that I've enjoyed working with every day. And many of us, and I think all of us here, are part of the Cleaniacs.
Everybody in D.C. and the media knew we didn't have a president, but they waited until they cashed in their book deals to tell us. We need a commission to investigate. Democrats committed a crime against this republic. And everything that's happening to the party now, they deserve it. I'm sorry, they do. Some are saying they should treat it like a Tesla and set it on fire.
I think what they need to do, and what I think a lot of strategists are telling me, is that they need to almost burn the house down, but not only burn the house down, accept some accountability and say, this is what went wrong. This is what we need to do now. And, you know, responsibility for President Biden and maybe not getting him out sooner.
Guys, holy mo- like when you see this, are you surprised, guys? Like this right here, I'm telling you, it's gonna get deeper. We're gonna learn more, and it's about dang time because we knew what was going on. They just wouldn't admit it. They gaslighted us for years when it came to Biden, when it came to the cover-up of trying to take out Trump. But again, too, guys, big news, Supreme Court, thank you, just sided with President Trump 5-4 to allow him to continue halting teacher grants that were being used for DEI programs. Guys, $250 million. This is just the beginning. This is just a one lawsuit that they finally did an emergency ruling in order to rule on it against 8 states that were suing the Trump administration because they wanted their slush fund money, which is what we know is the woke agenda, these DEI programs. Thank you so much, Deanna Rankin, for the super chat. Said, let's keep our eyes on the Lord, God, who gave us this administration. Thank you, Joel, for your hard work, and God bless you. Let's go. God bless you, Deanna. Thank you so much, Leigh Lewis, who said, for the super chat, who said, I think the whole Dem party is a photo shoot. Right now it is, guys. And it's corrupt as all get out. Thank you so much, Richard Anderson, for the super chat. Guys, y'all show them some love in the chat. Because right here, these crooked, I'm telling you, it was a 5-4 ruling. One conservative justice ruled with the Democrats. I'm telling you, this is the fight of our lives right now. And I wouldn't be surprised right there, that was whenever Trump got shot and he raised his hand, that if they do not protect him like they're supposed to, there needs to be dang accountability, guys. That people want to take this guy out. And this 5-4 ruling is just the beginning. Thank God they're stepping in to actually help America be first. Check this out.
Dave, is that any real difference in what's going on here? This has gone from a judicial insurrection to a judicial coup. Am I too far off base on that, sir?
No, you're not at all. I mean, look what they tried to do with President Trump before. They ran Crossfire Hurricane against him. 8 years ago, the Russian collusion hoax, they impeached him twice. They indicted him 4 times for non-crimes after he left office. They tried to bankrupt him for non-fraud. They tried to illegally, unconstitutionally take him off the ballots. They tried to take off his head when they underfunded his Secret Service protection, and Biden said to put a bullseye on him. Now that President Trump's back in the White House and he has the House and
look, let me tell you this. When Biden, I remember when he made that comment, we showed it on this. He said somebody needs to put a bullseye on him. Like, I feel like that was a misquote, a misstep. He shouldn't have said it. But again, it makes me think, did they know something? Because remember what we showed you? Out of all the times, there was, what, I think almost 80 rallies, 86 rallies that Trump had. CNN was only at one of them. And that was the Butler, Pennsylvania. That was the one where he was almost killed. Did people know beforehand, guys? I'm telling you. Let me know your thoughts in the comments in the chat, because I'm telling you, this thing is deep.
On a comfortable margin in the Senate, you have these activist judges, these judicial saboteurs who are trying to destroy the presidency because they have a political and policy disagreement with who the American people elected. Fortunately, we just got a major win in the Supreme Court of the United States this afternoon, a 5-4 decision where Justice Amy Coney Barrett finally got her head out of her ass, and she joins 4 of the conservatives and slapped down one of these activist judges. You had this new Biden activist judge, a federal judge in Boston, who said that President Trump couldn't cancel $250 million in bogus DEI teacher training grants. And so the Supreme Court correctly held, as we've been talking on this show for over a month, that if you have a grant canceled, your recourse is to file a lawsuit in the Court of Federal Claims. It's not to go to an activist judge and get a temporary restraining order that's not temporary at all. The Supreme Court held that these fake TROs by these activist judges are not TROs. They're actually preliminary injunctions, and that means that they're immediately appealable, and that means that we're finally starting to fight back and win against this Democrat lawfare.
Yes.
Because I want to ask, of everything that's going on, of all the 100 lawsuits, and now they're suing on tariffs, of all the 100 lawsuits against Trump, how this one got to the Supreme Court so quickly. But take a second and explain to people, because I'll be honest, I didn't know this till I got to D.C. and started learning about the administrative state. I was a typical bureaucracy for years, but didn't really understand the mechanism of how vast the apparatus is of the administrative state. Talk about what claims court is and how big that is and why this should have gone there. What is the claims court? How big is it? And why is that a venue for people to take this instead of running to federal court to try to stop the president's activity?
So generally, the government has sovereign immunity, meaning you can't sue the government unless the government gives you permission to sue the government through a statute. So we have the Jones Act and the...
Guys, I'm sorry. Sometimes you just gotta laugh. The government is sovereign. You can't sue the government unless the government gives you permission to sue them. Is that not just hilarious? Guys, that's our dang government right now. Scott Charles, thank you so much for the super chat. Let's go. And T Heavy Guy dropping the 10 gifted TrueLife News memberships. Let's go, baby. Y'all show T Heavy Guy some love if you get a membership, because that is awesome. Hey, T Heavy Guy, that's OG status right there, brother.
Court of Federal Claims that was set up. If you have a contract claim, if you do business for the government, you're a contractor of the government, and the government does not pay you for your work, you can't just go to a district court and bring a breach of contract claim. You have to go to the Court of Federal Claims, which is a specialty court in Washington, D.C., and you have to bring contract claims there. And if you don't bring contract claims there, you generally don't get your money. These other courts do not have jurisdiction. And when you have President Trump canceling these bogus contracts like DEI contracts or USAID funding contracts, the recourse is go to the Court of Federal Claims. Well, these activists have been running to their activist judges and getting these supposed temporary restraining orders that aren't temporary at all.
No, they're not.
To get the government, like, for example.
And if you didn't know, guys, a temporary restraining order that these federal district judges issue has an automatic 1 month, 30 days that the Trump administration cannot do anything from the time that they said it. 30 days, it halts Trump's agenda for 30 days. That's what it means. And then they can start putting it through the courts. If that isn't messed up, I don't know what is, guys. If you appreciate this, if you don't mind hitting that thumbs up like button, thank you so much for your support.
We had Judge Allie in D.C. just over a month ago who ordered the president to send out $2 billion in foreign aid over the president's national security review. He did not have jurisdiction to do that. And it's just insane that the Supreme Court allowed that to happen. And I think that Justice Amy Coney Barrett has learned her lesson, and she saw that her stupid ruling from before on that Judge Allie USAID case where the president can't do a national security review, it caused all these activist judges
because this.
I'm telling you guys, like it they're finally stepping in. They finally ruled and sided with Trump on this. Finally, Justice Amy Coney Barrett did what she was supposed to do, put America first, honey, and actually back up Trump, who was the very person that put you in. Not saying that that's how you're supposed to do it, but when it comes to this, guys, we're clearly need to be putting an America first agenda and making sure that we are not being divided right now, because I'm telling you, the Hill put it out. I want to show you this right here. So right here, this is the Hill, divided Supreme Court sides with Trump. And right here, just showing you the actual receipts, guys. This was a 5-4 emergency ruling for now. This resumes this stopped the grants going to these Democratic states, 8 Democratic-led states that were suing the Trump administration to try to get some more money. Because guys, that's where we're at right now. It's all about the money. We've stopped the gravy train. We've stopped all this craziness. And now they're feeling it. So they're using everything that they can. And all it is just coming out is lie after lie after lie. And it's about dang time. And I'll say this too, guys. I won't be surprised. I will not be surprised if Kamala Harris comes out against Biden and Obama for some more deeper stuff. Listen to this. But thank you so much, Lori. Let's go. Upgraded the membership in the channel. Y'all show Lori some love in the chat.
Have you seen this? How desperate were Democrats and the media for 4 more years of Joe Biden? Not Kamala Harris, not somebody with at least a pulse. How desperate were they for Joe Biden? They wanted Joe Biden for 4 more years so badly they were willing to do almost anything to make that happen. Take a look.
I talk to President Biden, regularly, or sometimes several times in a week, or usually several times in a week. His mental acuity is great. It's fine. It's as good as it's been over the years.
Biden has vision. He has knowledge. He has a strategic thinker. This is a very sharp president.
The most difficult part about a meeting with President Biden is preparing for it, because he is sharp, intensely probing, and detail-oriented and focused.
I mean, it's almost preposterous to watch that now with a straight face. If Joe Biden, president in name only for 4 years, was so sharp, why'd he drop out of the race? Who was really running the country and continuing to run the country? That was the plan. If Joe Biden somehow won the election against Donald Trump, whoever was running the country would continue to run and ruin the country, and Joe would continue to get all the credit, which is exactly what happened for the 4 years that he was there. But their plans were ruined on debate night in June 2024, when the state of the real Joe Biden was finally revealed to the rest of the world. That was 10 months ago. And Kamala would go on to lose the election on November the 5th, which was 5 months ago, almost to the day. Thank goodness that never happened. In fact, today, when somebody asked me, hey, can you prove that God's real? I say, look who's in the White House. If you want proof that God is real, look who is in the White House, sitting behind the Resolute desk in the Oval Office.
Let's
and now,
go.
Instead of a front man in charge of a shadow government, this is what's happening in that very same Oval Office.
Thank you for making this happen so quick. Anyone who's bought a concert ticket in the last decade, maybe 20 years, no matter what your politics are, knows that it's a conundrum.
What's even more interesting is that we now have all of these books being written by so-called insiders, quoting people who were with Joe Biden on a daily basis when he was president. And frankly, it's disturbing to read, because all these people knew that Joe Biden was not there between the ears. But in their maniacal quest to hold on to power, they were willing to put the country through another 4 years of Joe Biden, which is exactly what they were planning to do, to the point where the Democratic Party now might not ever recover. And I mean that totally seriously. When this woman is the...
Did I not call it, guys? And now everybody's jumping on board. I promise you, they're probably watching our show and they're just following us, that I'm telling you, the Democratic Party is so far gone right now. They have literally lost their filter. They have gone so left that people are are literally leaving their party left and right. I got to get some love, guys. Big Dog DFW just dropped 20 TrueLife News memberships on the channel. Let's go, brother. Y'all show Big Dog some love in the chat. OG status, baby. I love it. And Mary Busby for the super chat, guys. We are winning. Trump and Elon need our prayers. Let's go.
Leader of your party, and she is right now. Your party is in a great deal of trouble.
This is what I say. I say you got hoodwinked, and that's okay. That's okay. Because as I was just telling somebody just a minute ago, I have dated in my life. I know they've been talking about whether or not I'm married and all this other stuff. I'm not married, never married, okay? Just want to get that out there. But I have dated. And I will say, any of us that have ever dated, we've been hoodwinked a time or two. Where we just sat there and we thought that he was going to be so great for us because he sold us on all the things, or her, okay? And then we realized they ain't. That's where we are, and that's okay. What matters is that you wake up and you say, this is not the one for me.
That poor young fellow right there doesn't know who he's interviewing or what she's talking about. That's Jasmine Crockett. She's 44 years old, by the way. She looks good. She's certainly a nice-looking woman. But she's not some kid. She's 44 years old, single, with no kids, which should just be the Democratic motto. It explains why Democrat policies are so out of step with the rest of the country. If you're single and you have no kids and you're 44, there's a greater issue. Do you really care about Trans Story Hour if you don't have kids? Probably not. Do you really care about illegal aliens raping children? Probably not. Do you really care about men playing in women's sports if you don't have kids and you're not married? Look, I'll let you decide at home, but I think the answer is no, given what we've seen. Sonia Sotomayor, Elena Kagan, two of the liberal justices on the Supreme Court, no kids. Cory Spartacus Booker, no kids. Maura Healey, AOC, no kids. And the list goes on of Democrats who are either single or have no kids or both. And these are the people leading the Democratic Party right now. And these are the people pulling the strings behind the scenes when Joe Biden was president. Over the next 10 days, at least 4 books are going to be published talking about the collapse of the Biden campaign and the Biden presidency. And Ron Klain, former White House chief of staff, said that when Joe Biden was getting ready to debate Donald Trump, he was, quote, out of it. And Ron Klain was worried that Joe Biden thought that he was president of NATO. Did you hear that? In June of last year, the former White House chief of staff was apparently concerned that Joe Biden, who was very much running for president, did not know he was president of the United States. He thought he was president of NATO. And no one...
Let me tell you this, guys. It's all coming out, and we're hearing about Biden right now. Just wait till Kamala Harris comes out, because I'm telling you, the sharks are coming. It's in infested waters, and they're now trying to separate themselves from the Biden administration, from the Obamas. Guys, I got some stuff to show you where you're going to be like, no way. I'm telling you. We are hearing stuff now that you would not believe it. And the only reason we're hearing it is because Trump won.
Said a word at the time. No one said anything. Ron Klain went on to say that when, quote, we sat around the table, Biden had his answers on cards and he was just extremely exhausted, Klain said. And I was struck by how out of touch with American politics he was. He was just very, very focused on his interactions with NATO leaders. He went on to say he, quote, wondered half seriously if Biden thought he was president of NATO instead of the United States. And they told us, they told you for years that Joe Biden, this pathetic man, was somehow prepared to serve another 4 years as president. Another 4 years. All of this, and nobody said a word publicly. Nobody alerted the media. Even though, of course, we all knew. At Newsmax, we talked about it all the time. Clearly, something was wrong with Joe Biden. It doesn't take a doctor to diagnose that. But nobody said anything, which, to me, borders on criminal. And as a result, this is what happened in June on debate night. Take a look.
With the COVID, with dealing with everything we have to do with, look, and I'm going to continue to move until we get the total ban on the total initiative relative to what we're going to do with more Border Patrol and more
that was our
asylum officers.
President Trump? I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence.
I was an 8 handicap.
Yeah.
8.
Never.
But I have, you know how many?
I've seen you swing. I know you swing.
The cover-up of the new century,
I'm telling you.
without question. And the media were all in on it. And all of these ridiculous books coming out right now are all a joke. Where were these books a year ago? Where were these books 2 years ago? Where were these books in 2020? These people are so corrupt that if that debate never happened and Joe Biden somehow went on to win the election in November, half this country and the media and every elected Democrat in Washington would still happily be living that lie. This lie that somehow Joe Biden was ever fit to serve as our president. He was not. He was an embarrassment to himself and to this country. And if Kamala Harris ever wants to run for president seriously again, she needs to come clean with what she knew, what she...
Oh, I told you guys. Look, man, if we are not... we are calling it before the news is. If we don't... Guys, y'all gotta let people know. You heard it first here on True Life News. I even said it, guys, because again, too, there is things that are coming out that you just can't help. People want to get fame. People want to sell books. People are making $10, $15 million off these books because they're dishing on their own party. But if you appreciate this exposure, guys, of the truth, if you don't mind supporting us and hitting that thumbs up like button, this is the truth, guys. Right now, everybody's trying to say panic. Oh, the stock market. Oh, my goodness. Recession, all this. Look what happened. This is the facts. This is what happened. 2022 to the beginning of the end of 2023, we had some crazy times, but you didn't hear the media talking about recession. Oh no, Biden's got it. Biden wasn't even there. Thank you so much, Emmanuel. Welcome to the family. Let's go. And thank you so much, T Heavy Guy with the super chat who said, "These things I've spoken unto you, that in me you might have peace in the world, and ye shall have tribulation, but be of good cheer. I have overcome the world." Amen. Scott Matthews with the super chat. Hey, we giving back. God's getting the glory. Amen. And Lori, who said, God bless Trump, his family, and Joel, and your family. God, thank you so much, Lori. God bless you. Guys, y'all show them some love in the chat. This whole panicking, what's going on? They're trying to lie to you, but the economy is booming right now. The things are being exposed. Look at this, guys. Trump shattered. He literally shattered the expectations. It was 140. He did 228,000 for our economy. Why? Because people know that it's an America First agenda. We haven't ever had this, guys. Please tell me in the chat. Have we had an America First agenda in the past 50 years? Like, I know Reagan was great, but he didn't even take it to the level that Trump is taking it to. And right now, these judges are trying to fight him tooth and nail. But what I love is we do have some pit bulls, guys. These guys are standing toe-to-toe with everybody, even in Congress, to make sure that we're going to know the truth. We're going to see the full truth and make sure that, guess what? These people are held accountable because you just saw it. Everybody knows that something was wrong with Biden. Everybody knows that we missed something. And listen to this, because it's getting real, guys, especially with these injunctions against Trump.
It's long been said that hypocrisy is the tribute that vice pays to virtue. I have to admit, I'm enjoying listening to my Democrat colleagues suddenly discover the virtues of the rule of law. After 4 years where they brazenly supported the most lawless Department of Justice and the most politically weaponized Department of Justice our nation has ever seen. We just heard the senator from Rhode Island talk about the imperative of protecting judges. And yet not a single Democrat senator cared about the violent protesters that showed up outside Supreme Court justices' homes, including, I might note, female justices like Justice Amy Coney Barrett, threatening their family, and Joe Biden's attorney general didn't do a damn thing and refused to enforce the law to protect those judges. Why? Because he agreed with the violent protesters and he wanted to intimidate and threaten those judges.
Dang.
Professor Bray, under our Constitution, Who should decide elections, the voters or unelected judges?
The voters are the ones who should vote in the election according to the laws, and the laws sometimes have to be applied by the judges if there are cases.
And under our Constitution, who is charged with making policy decisions? Elected representatives elected by the people or unelected federal judges?
I think the question of policy, Senator, is a little broader than the particular case. So the laws should be enacted by Congress. That's where the fountain of law.
Policy decisions are the elected branches.
Right.
Law is the province of the court. Policy is the province of the elected branches. These are not complicated. Professor Bray, let me ask you this. Do the federal courts have power to issue remedies for people who are not parties to a case?
That's a question I agree is not complicated. They do not have that power.
Is the phrase nationwide injunction or universal injunction found anywhere in the Constitution?
It is not.
First chart. In the first 150 years of our republic, how many nationwide injunctions were issued?
My view is that there were not any until 1963.
0. Now fast forward. How many nationwide injunctions were issued in the entire 20th century?
It's a small number. I would think it would be a dozen, give or take. It's not much.
27, actually.
27 in the whole 20th century.
Trump's first term. How many nationwide injunctions were issued in the last 20 years?
Far more than that.
32. From 2001 to 2024 against Biden, Obama, and Bush, 32. And how many nationwide injunctions have been issued in the last 2 months alone?
There have been quite a few.
37. Let that sink in.
God!
There have been more nationwide injunctions in the past 2 months against President Trump than in the entire 20th century. There have been more nationwide injunctions against President Trump in the last 2 months than both terms of George W. Bush, both terms of Barack Obama, and Joe Biden's term. We saw during the Biden presidency lawfare, indicting President Trump 4 times, using the machinery of justice to attack him, and that was an attack on democracy, because Democrats today hate democracy. Democrats today are angry at the voters for re-electing Donald Trump and electing a Republican Senate and a Republican House, and they engaged in lawfare to stop democracy from operating. Understand, this is the second.
Guys, quick math. We're literally sitting at now 101 federal injunctions against Trump. Over 100. 14 against Biden, 12 against Obama, 6 against Bush, 27 between 1963 and Bush. This is insane. This is psychotic behavior that you can over 100, guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section, because I'm telling you, this right here is whenever you have activist judges trying to control the sitting president.
Phase of lawfare, second chart. This is the second phase of lawfare. Now that their efforts to indict President Trump and stop the voters from re-electing him have failed, they're going and seeking out individual radical judges.
Yep.
To try to shut down policies, and they are forum shopping like crazy. Give me any loon judge put on the bench by Obama or Biden who disagrees with a policy. We just saw a judge flagrantly ignore U.S. immigration law concerning TPS being revoked. U.S. law explicitly said there's no judicial review for that, but hey, they found a judge who says, you know what? We, the Democrat Party, we are the party of illegal aliens. We are the party of murderers and rapists and gang members, and the Democrat Party exists here to fight to keep murderers and rapists and gang members in your communities. There's a reason the Democrat Party is at 26% approval nationwide.
Boom.
Because they put radical policies ahead of rule of law. Nationwide injunctions are an abuse of power. It is the judiciary acting as policy deciders, and it is incumbent on this committee and this body to rein in the abuse of power from these unelected radical judges who are trying to overturn the election because they disagree with what the voters decided.
Boom. Mic drop, guys. Again, that's why it's super important that what you see on the screen, guys, that the Supreme Court finally had an emergency ruling. These things take forever, and they sided with President Trump. 5-4 ruling. Amy Coney Barrett finally got her butt in check with putting America first and stop fueling the woke agenda that's across this country. Like, guys, it's asinine to look at how many times we are seeing the abuse of power across these federal district judges. But what we need from the Supreme Court is a final official ruling. This week, let me tell you this, guys. Let me tell you right here. Let me tell you how much money affects all of this. We were supposed to have a ruling and a congressional vote this week to tell every single federal district judge you do not have the power to issue nationwide injunctions. What happened a couple days ago? Mike Johnson got in a tizzy, got in a fight with Anna Paulina Luna, and he literally sent everybody home. You want to talk about money talks? Enough money talks. If they have enough dirt on somebody, they'll prevent this bill from actually being passed in the House and not following Trump's agenda. Because if they don't, did you hear that? 101 federal injunctions, over 100 now, against Trump. And it's not stopping there. I promise you, give it 2-3 more months. If Congress does not pass a bill, we will have over 200. And just think about it. They had 27 from 1963 to Bush era. Bush, and in his entire 8 years, 6. Obama, 12. Biden, 14. Now Trump is over 100. It's completely one-sided. Like, this is so apparently one-sided. If you don't see it, it's naive. You're just being naive. Want to say thank you so much, T Heavy Guy, for the super chat. He said, "For unto us a child is born, unto us son is given, the government shall be upon his shoulders. Amen." Richard Anderson, thank you for the super chat. And Brian McGavick, who said, "Everyone say hi, Michelle. It takes a special woman to be a truck driver's wife." Hey, my dad was a truck driver. I know what it's like, brother. Y'all show Brian some love in the chat, guys. And Scott Matthews for the super chats. And thank you so much, Brian McGavick, for gifting 10 TrueLife News memberships. If you got hooked up with a membership, go show Brian some love in the chat, guys. We are moving forward. And again, this whole thing, Liberation Day, it's for a reason, guys. Trump knows what he's doing. And I want you to hear it from himself, from a big left-leaning guy, to say, I would not bet against Donald Trump. Check this out.
Dr. Don is ready to see you. While the market suffered from some side effects of taking tariff medicine, President Trump was seeking phenomenal offers and ready to deal. Vietnam just got their checkup. After getting slapped with one of the highest tariff rates, all it took was one phone call. And Trump says Nam is open to having 0 tariffs. And if you believe Dr. Don's ready to operate on every country mooching off Uncle Sam, but as usual, Democrats in the media are flatlining and taking off their shoes like it's a code blue in the spin room.
Here is a shoe. It's my shoe, right? It is made in China. You talked about these luxury products.
They are.
Right, but you take your shoe off and see where it's made.
Yes.
Made in China, made in Vietnam. This is going to be 34% more expensive.
Made one of the dumbest decisions he's ever made as president, and that's saying a lot.
What Donald Trump has announced in terms of his tariffs is just plain dumb.
I began to understand how this is the only guy in America that could bankrupt multiple casinos.
So what's the recovery plan for the patient? Well, more U.S. manufacturing and jobs. This former auto worker says the tariffs are working and the so-called experts are all wrong.
Nobody was crying these crocodile tears when they were closing the Mound Road engine plant that Chrysler had in Macomb County, or the Romeo engine plant in Romeo, Michigan, in Macomb County. But all of a sudden, now that we're trying to bring these products back, these components and these vehicles back to the United States, all of a sudden, all the so-called experts are saying it's going to plunge us into recession and be terrible for the economy.
And once upon a time, Democrats used to love tariffs.
Yes, they did.
It's also proper for advanced economies like the United States to insist on reciprocity from nations like China that are no longer solely poor countries, to make sure that they're providing access to their markets.
The average U.S. MFN tariff on Chinese goods coming into the United States is 2%, whereas the average Chinese MFN tariff on U.S. goods going into China is 35%. Is that reciprocal?
Guys, did you just hear Nancy Pelosi? This woman literally said back in 1996, almost 30 years ago, look at the tariffs. This is how long we've been getting screwed over by our own politicians, and then she was a newbie in Congress. But what happened as soon as she got rising up in the ranks, started making a ton of money? She's worth $230 million, almost $250 million now. She says the exact opposite. Why? Because when they started getting their pockets lined up, that's whenever they hit the road. And they said, forget America. We'll just do whatever's best for everybody else. We'll step over Americans and we'll help everybody else out in the world because it doesn't matter. This is her in 1996 and sounding exactly like Trump. If you appreciate this, guys, if you don't mind hitting that thumbs up like button, you cannot ask for more facts and receipts than this.
Is 35%. Is that reciprocal?
Reciprocal.
The fact is that U.S.-China trade is a job loser.
Just say, I wouldn't bet against him. I look at what he's done with the southern border in 2 months, which has been little short of miraculous, and he's had hardly any credit for it. So I'm prepared to give him a little bit of time and a chance. I think everybody should, to see if this works. But if in 2 months' time it's not working, the pain could be pretty enormous, and that could be presidency threatening. So the stakes are high.
It does look like a gamble to us, Greg, but the president doesn't see it that way at all. He seems relaxed.
No, because by the way, I mean, he actually said this was going to happen. The media acts like it's a big surprise, but he said, yeah, there might be a rough patch at the beginning of the stock market. He's like the pilot that says, yeah, you know, it's going to be a little bumpy when we're going up, but then it's going to smooth out and we'll get you home safely. The media is the guy that sits next to you, and every single thud of turbulence goes, we're all going to die. Pierce is right. It's like we're only getting a half opinion. The half opinion is look at the stock market go down. They don't say, well, you know, it goes back up. I mean, I know Pelosi, Nancy Pelosi, net worth $270 million. Since the tariffs,
she's worth $270 million, guys. What'd he just say? He said they're freaking out right now, but remember, you didn't see them freaking out when this was happening between 2022 and 2023. Stock market goes down, stock market goes up. This is a little bump in the road. It's gonna be okay.
Lost $7 million, or about 2.5%. Do you think she's okay? I think so. She's going to get that money back in time for Botox season. Money moves around, and a half opinion is when an idiot tells you it just goes down. And for example, I couldn't tell you what the stock market was last week, the week before that, because you don't look at it. I'm perplexed by the notion that all tariffs are bad when countries put tariffs on our products. It's a tool that is used in specific environments. Not all environments, some. For example, if I were to punch Jesse in the face here, that would be bad. You know, you don't beat up people.
Would it?
Well, for some, you know what, you've changed my mind. But if it were a boxing match, yes. So in a boxing match, you don't tell your opponent, hey, the right cross is off the table, because he's not going to agree with you. So in these negotiations, you know, he's using an asset. Trump is using an asset that wasn't being used before. So he's making, again, an asset out of nothing. And he's introducing it to keep our trading partners off balance, so they make a deal on our terms. If you look at NATO, Greenland, the Panamac Anal, you know, they all woke up to the Trump alarm clock. The best part about this is they start negotiating with themselves first before they even get to the table. Trump, we don't even have to lift a finger because uncertainty through action gets people moving in your direction even before you meet them. It's because it's all beginning at a standstill. It's inert. You're dealing with inertia. So it's already a win. We're already getting results.
Yeah, because Vietnam called and they want to drop their duties down to 0, Katie. So that guy's Nikes that he just held up, they're not going to go up at all.
Yeah, well, that's because Vietnam needs access to the American market to keep their country afloat, which is why they're calling and asking to negotiate. When President Trump made his trip to China in 2017, this was a topic of discussion. And I was actually there a week after he was in the country. And the number one complaint from the Commerce Department was there's no reciprocity here on anything, not to mention goods. We're trying to get into the Chinese market. We're not allowed to. We're not allowed to send the product without having a tax. So this has been an issue that the president addressed in his first term kind of as a test, and it worked out fine. So now they're going full force with his actual plan for tariffs, which includes a number of things outside of just what you saw happening on Wednesday. It's tax cuts, it's deregulation, it's spending cuts. And when you look at these Democrats who like Nancy Pelosi used to believe in exactly what he's saying, it shows that for so many years they were always willing to talk about this, but never willing to take the political risk to actually stand up for the people they said they were going to the mat for. I mean, Elizabeth Warren, this is a woman who has said that she's for the workers and she's for the little guy and she's for the people who are actually doing the work for the big corporations. And yet she's against any of this because Trump is putting his name on it. When you look at the people who were in the Rose Garden on Wednesday with their hard hats and their union membership, Elizabeth Warren wasn't there. It could have been a great bipartisan event, and yet it wasn't. Finally, the 401ks and Wall Street, the majority or half of the country is invested in some type of investment. So to say that it's not a big deal that people are looking at their investments, that it's not hurting. People do hedge home purchases, for example, against their investments, and they're worried. However, it's been 2 days since this was implemented. There's a broader picture here for what they have planned. So let's see what happens as these world leaders continue to call the White House and try to negotiate their rates.
Yeah, next week, Judge, it could bounce right back.
Yeah, and I think that what Piers was saying when you said it was a roll of the dice, and, we don't know whether it's going to work or it's not going to work. When you think about the guy who is throwing the dice, okay, you've got a guy who took care of the caliphate in a few weeks that was driving the world crazy. You've got the southern border, as you say so accurately, is now nobody's crossing the border. We've got a good job numbers today. We now have manufacturing coming back to the United States, $1 trillion he's gotten foreign investments into this country. So when you start reading all the tea leaves, he's setting up the game. Everything is starting to coalesce. And just today, what I read out from, Vietnam, he's willing to say, hey, we need you. I'm willing to go to 0. Jeep and Ram is now selling all of their vehicles to Americans at employee prices. Ford is selling vehicles to Americans at employee prices. And then you've got the pausing of the minivans and Jeeps being made in Mexico and Canada because they realize that that's not going to work anymore, that they're going to have to make them in the United States. And, the uncertainty in the stock market, it isn't necessarily a negative. It can be an indication that things are going to work out. It's just that they're uncertain right now. And you got a president who's swinging for the fences. You got a president who's punching, as opposed to the other guy who put, $5 trillion into the economy and caused inflation that this president now has to deal with. And the American industries have been getting killed. And today we heard about the shrimp industry. I didn't know anything about it. But 94% of the shrimp in this country comes from Southeast Asia and Ecuador. And they don't have any of the protections. They're pond-raised, farm-raised, illegal hormones, antibiotics, slave trade, all that stuff. And yet we keep protecting these other countries, defending them, giving them money, and we're basically saying, sock us in the face again. No more. It's time for the American worker
to start winning, baby. And that's what's happening. John Reppy, thank you so much for the super chat. Let's go. And Andy with the super chat. And John Payne, guys, thank you so much for your support. Guys, FEMA redirects nearly $1 billion from woke infrastructure programs to disaster relief. The literal FEMA, what does FEMA stand for? Federal Emergency. Did I just forget? Okay, I just went blank, guys. Federal Emergency something administration. Oh man, I look really bad right now. I'm super excited right now. FEMA means Federal Emergency Management Agency. Sorry. Regardless, this right here just shows you guys how badly it was managed. We have people that, when I think about it, it breaks my heart, guys. From North Carolina, the Maui fires, all these people that lost everything and they couldn't get a dang dime to help them out besides $750 because we were sending $1 billion to woke infrastructure programs. Like this type of stuff, it is about dang time that we actually put American people first. And if you appreciate this, guys, show some love in the chat. If you don't mind, hitting the video with the thumbs up like button, because we're actually moving forward, actually going to disaster relief, actually putting forth our country in a way that it should be run. Does this not make sense? Is this not common sense? The Federal Emergency Management Agency, who deals with disaster relief, probably should be spending its money on disaster relief. Why is this so hard for the Democrats to understand this? T Heavy Guy, thank you so much with the super chat. He said, nevertheless, I have somewhat against thee because thou hast left that first love. Hey man, you got to put God first in everything. Valerie Taylor, thank you so much for the super chat. Stephen Nichols, and guys, y'all show some love to T Heavy Guy for gifting 10 TrueLife News memberships. If you got one, show him some love in the chat, guys. That's some OG status right there. I want to go ahead and show you this, guys, because again, if this is not where we're at right now, and this is a backbone of steel by our president, President Trump, this is from the leading report, guys. This is per the White House official, President Trump is at the peak of just not giving any more. Bad news stories, doesn't give he's going to do what he's going to do. Because he knows if he doesn't clean out the deep state now, we may never get another chance, guys. That's how close we are. Think about it. Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, even Obama, you heard them in the past say such America First agenda things, policies. But then when the money got involved, they all changed. But watch this, guys, because I'm telling you this. We are living in history right now.
Not so much. China was one of the haters. They launched a 34% tariff on us today. Now, Canada and Mexico are also imposing some additional tariffs after agreeing to lower some, and that's against America just in response to us just charging them what they charge us. And we tried to warn them today, too. Look, Canada's unemployment ticked up because of this. Look, folks, tariffs work. After all, if they didn't, 170 countries wouldn't be imposing them on us, China being the main one. But since China was admitted to the World Trade Organization back in 2001, they have been ripping off American workers. Trump has been calling this out, too. This was Clinton's baby, and finally it happened in Bush's first year. But this cut, when they joined the WTO, China's tariffs on imports from 24 to 7%. And what happened? Sure, it did slash some consumer prices at big box stores like Walmart. It flooded their shelves with cheaply made goods. But in the first 7 years of China joining the WTO, Walmarts and all this other stuff, Chinese good on their shelves, increased by 50%. It means 50% of American-made goods just vanished off their shelves. Imagine that. All while Americans lost our manufacturing jobs. Over 3.7 million in 17 years. And the middle class that the Democrats claimed they cared so much about completely stagnated. From 2000 to 2016, you can see on this chart right now, before Trump 1 came into office on that red line, the median household income only increased for the middle class by $1,000 a year while adjusted for inflation. The income gap, though, I mean, hugely became bigger. But in the same...
Guys, look at that chart. I'm so happy when I see this. Because look at the exponential increase that happened for people's median household income under Trump. And it's about to take another big jump.
At the same time, Chinese imports increased to America by 500%. And we weren't putting tariffs on them, or at least not adequate ones. And there used to be a common consensus about how bad this was. Nancy Pelosi used to think that tariffs were the way to go.
How far does China have to go? How much more repression? How big a trade deficit and loss of jobs for the American worker? And how much more dangerous proliferation has to exist before members of this House of Representatives will say, I will not endorse the status quo?
Wow.
Obama even criticized Mitt Romney for not being harsh enough. Obama put tariffs on another country for importing cheap tires into America.
We had a tire case in which they were flooding us with cheap domestic tires or cheap Chinese tires. And we put a stop to it. And as a consequence, saved jobs throughout America. I have to say that Governor Romney criticized me for being too tough in that tire case.
Save the American workers, he said. Nothing else they did save the American workers. Here's far-left Bernie Sanders criticizing Republicans for allowing companies to the ability to produce our products overseas.
Further, what they have said is that we need to
that's my
not
birthday,
worry
September 18th.
about manufacturing in America, because what we should establish is a policy of unfettered free trade. We don't need tariffs. What we need is to allow corporate America the freedom to throw American workers out on the street.
He was literally making exactly the same case Trump is making.
Wow.
The same case Trump has been making for 40 years. But fast forward to today, what's Nancy Pelosi saying? Here, look at her Twitter. Donald Trump's reckless tariffs will cause chaos in our economy, raise prices for consumers, and hurt hardworking American families. This is not a strategy. It's the largest tax hike on the American people in history. From the woman who passed the Inflation Reduction Act that spiked inflation through the roof. She's never met a tax hike she didn't like. In fact, all the left is against. Everything they're against is because Trump wants to do it. And all of a sudden now, because Trump is actually doing it, tariffs are bad? I mean, this shows you that they don't actually care about governing this country, but rather just making political stand-ups. You can pick an issue on this. Immigration is the clearest one. Barack Obama.
And we should continue the work of fixing our broken immigration system to secure our borders and enforce our laws and ensure that everyone who plays by the rules can contribute to our economy and enrich our nations.
Boy, did he change his mind on that one when he built the family separation cages. Bill Clinton said the exact same thing.
We are a nation of immigrants, but we are also a nation of laws. It is wrong and ultimately self-defeating for a nation of immigrants to permit the kind of abuse of our immigration laws we have seen in recent years, and we must do more to stop it.
Yeah, in fact,
dang, guys. Like, seriously, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, if the Democratic Party still spoke like that, our country would look entirely different. We would, holy smokes, like, it's crazy to say, though, that we would be so much further ahead, guys, because we literally just let in over 20 million, but listen to what these people literally said. These were the Democrats. We don't know what kind of people we got now in the Democratic Party, because I don't think they're truly Democrats anymore. There's something else.
Democrats are pretty much universally having serious concerns about illegal immigrants defrauding our Social Security programs, like Chuck Schumer.
Over where we go, people say, well, why can't you stop illegal immigrants or others from coming here? And the number one answer we give our constituents is when they come here, they can get jobs, get benefits against the law because of fraud.
A few years later, he even fought back against normalizing calling them undocumented.
When we use phrases like undocumented workers, We convey a message to the American people that their government is not serious about combating illegal immigration.
What?
Donald Trump is like the one guy who's been consistent on all of his policies, going back 40 plus years. And 40 plus years ago, he was a Democrat, if you recall.
Yes.
So you want to talk about him not leaving the party like Elon Musk? The party left them. There's no consistency with Democrats whatsoever. And if you want to have your mind blown, consider this. I said yesterday, this market turmoil is all temporary. But the other thing that I find actually temporary and honestly hilarious, I anxiously await all the people criticizing Trump's current market slide. Like, I await their applause when it shoots back up in a few months, because that's what I'm predicting.
Yes.
It also, it's super ironic to me that the Alanis Morissette song pops into my head when I'm saying this. But when all the Democrats are always talking about, like, oh, we need to eat the rich, evil people, then why are they so concerned about the stock market sliding? Well, I mean, we know why, because it's a chance to take a shot at Trump. But I would actually have thought that Bernie Sanders would be sitting there in his mittens clapping about this, because this little market dip, okay, because the wealthiest 10% of Americans hold 95% of the wealth. The people that Bernie always demonized. Much of it is held in the stock market. You would think the left would love this stock market being hit right now, but no, they're criticizing Trump for it. This dip in the market is short-term pain for predominantly rich people, which the left seems to hate, except when they're donating to their campaigns. Look, folks, if you have a...
Oh, God. The mic drops are real, guys. The Democrats only hate the rich people whenever they're not donating to their campaign. Guys, wow, what a show tonight, guys. I want to say thank you to everybody who is watching, to all of our subscribers, guys, to all of our viewers. We appreciate you so much. If you're not subscribed, please consider joining our family here at True Life News Family. Guys, y'all are amazing. I love seeing the chat. I try to respond as much as I can, but y'all are killing it. Guys, I want to say thank you so much. If you haven't already, but if you don't mind doing us a huge favor, hitting that thumbs up like button. We really appreciate your support, guys. Things are happening. This is getting so real right now, and I thank God that the Supreme Court sided with Trump finally and did something about it. But this is not over yet. We're now at 37 injunctions. We're not even 3 months into his presidency. Guys, this is so crazy. But we're here for it. We're going to bring you the truth. You're going to see everything, guys, and we're going to make sure you're informed. Want to give some love, guys, to all of our members of the channel, to all those that give us super chat donation, guys. This is what it's all about. We're a growing community. The 22nd of every month, you're going to find us here donating to charities live on stream. We are making a difference, guys. And this month, guys, I really felt my heart to give back to a charity called New Beginnings. This charity is so wonderful, guys. They literally help out when it comes to kids that ain't got no homes, that are alone, guys, they help with adoptions. They help the moms, and it's a beautiful local charity, guys. And I love it, because to me, when I see all these big charities, and don't get me wrong, I know they do some good, but when they spend as much money as they do on administration, I'm like, I want more of the money to go to the actual people that need it the most. And whenever you donate super chats or you're a member, we take that money and we donate it, guys. And with this channel is more than just reporting the news. It's giving back. And I want to give some love to tonight, Deanna Rankin, Leigh Lewis, Richard Anderson, Scott Charles, T Heavy Guy, brother, growing the True Life News family. Let's go. Scott Matthews, Lori, Mary Busby, Emmanuel, Macrillos, T Heavy Guy, brother, love it. Lori, Richard Anderson, Brian McGavick, thank you so much, brother. John Reppy, Andy, John Payne, Della Cole, Stephen Nichols, Valerie Taylor, Leigh Lewis, let's go. And again, guys, with the super chat, guys, I want to read these last two because they're just so good. Guys, I think Leigh Lewis said it all boils down to the Dems being jealous of what President Trump accomplished. 100%. And T Heavy Guy saying, please let's grow the family. God bless you all. Thanks, Joel. Guys, God bless you all that have supporting us and giving back. Sherry Clem, thank you so much for the super chat. And Stephen Nichols, let's go. What a great night. Y'all show them some love in the chat, guys. Want to say thank you to everybody who supports us. We're here to serve you every day with the top news. Don't forget it, guys. We love you all. Appreciate you so much. We'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.